Hi there, my name's Vince from mymatevince.com, and in this video today I'm going to show you how you can connect up a PlayStation 4 to a DVI monitor. So DVI looks like that. The problem we've got is with this cable here, unlike HDMI, it only carries the picture, so it's not going to carry the sound. So even though that monitor over there has speakers built into it, it's not going to allow any sound to come out of it. So to begin with in the video, I'm just going to show you how to connect the PlayStation up straight into the monitor, because a lot of people want to use their headphones in here anyway, so they don't need to have sound on the TV. But I'm then going to show you what you need to buy and how to set it up so you can get sound coming out of, for example, a soundbar or your 3.5mm jack speakers. So these speakers here are old PC speakers and they terminate in that. This soundbar here, I want to be using the optical connection to get it to work. As you're probably already aware if you're watching this video, the PlayStation 4 Slim, not the normal PlayStation or the Pro, but the Slim does not have any optical connections. So the only audio you can use is from the HDMI. So different options. The easiest way, I think, is just to, if you're buying a new cable anyway, is just to go out and get a HDMI to a DVI cable. You don't have to worry about getting really expensive ones. So maybe don't get the cheapest one because it just might fail on you. But if you're worried about the picture, the cheap lead, if it works, is going to be as good as an expensive lead because it's digital. So don't fall for something, you know, if it's like £80, you know, just get one for like £4 or £5 and it will be good enough. I got this one off Amazon for, I think it was under £5, and it's really well made and it's really nice. If you were to get, for example, a pound shop cable, then the chances are they're all going to be made out of aluminium, and then it will probably just fail after a while just from flexing off the cable. But as far as the picture's concerned, a cheap one will work as well as a good one as long as it works. Okay, so that's the cable I'm going to be setting up. If, for example, you've already got your cables and this is a DVI cable, then, for example, this will go into the monitor no problem, but this isn't going to fit into the PlayStation. So what you would need to do is you would need to get a converter. So here I have a DVI female to a HDMI male, and then you would just plug that onto the end, get it the right way around, and there, that would now plug into the PlayStation and this would plug into your monitor. The other option would be to use this one here in the back of the monitor, and then you could just use your PlayStation HDMI lead that came with it in here. So you would plug this into your monitor and that will convert it to HDMI, and then you would just plug that into there like so. So really, I suppose this is the easiest one, but if you're still buying cables anyway, I would just recommend getting a ready-made cable, because I personally prefer them rather than using adapters, because it's just one less connection. Because here we've got the connection at the PlayStation, that's one connection, here two, and here three. While when you use a cable, there's only two connections, one at the PlayStation and one at the monitor. But obviously it's going to be a tiny bit cheaper, not much, but a tiny bit cheaper to get the adapters. Right, so in this video I'm going to be using the cable. So it's nice and simple. We're just going to plug one end of it into the back of the PlayStation. Now at the moment my PlayStation is off. So when you're doing this, when you're swapping cables and stuff, it's always best to have your TV, or in this case a monitor, and the PlayStation or whatever equipment you're using off, because there's a chance that by plugging and unplugging the leads all the time when it's on, there's a chance that you could either damage the HDMI port here or the HDMI ports at the TV. That's why you see a lot of times that people blow the HDMI ports in the TV. Often it's because they've been swapping these around without turning it off. Plug the other end into here, and then you can do up the little thumb screws. Okay, so now that's one blue connector, DVI in there, the other one there. Let's turn on the PlayStation. I'm going to fast forward through this bit now while it just boots itself up. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to show you the settings you need to change to have all the audio going through the controller, because in this first part of the setup we're going to be using this for sound. And also I have to put the correct input on the monitor, so I'll either be pressing input or source depending on how it's labelled up. So I think the last thing I used was VGA, so I'm now going to select DVI. Right, so I'm going to move it down to DVI. And now you see DVI just at the top there. Okay, there you go, if you have a look there, it just came on for a second. Right, as you can see now, I've got my PlayStation screen up there, so but I've got no sound. So even though that monitor's got sound built into it, it's not going to pass it through that DVI. So we want it to pass it through here. So all we're going to do is I'm going to press and hold the PlayStation button, and normally you would have your headphones plugged in, so all the options are going to come up. But if I do it now without the headphones plugged in, and if I go to Sound and Devices, you can see now that everything for the headphones is blanked out. But as soon as I plug it in, they're going to come back on. So I've plugged that in now, and now you can see they're all live there. And if you have a look, it says output to headphones. If you have a look there, it says all audio, but by default it might be as chat audio. And when it's on chat audio, what that means is even when you plug in your headset into the controller, the only part you're actually going to be using is the microphone of the headset for chats, for online chat. The sound is not going to be coming through here. You're only going to be having the chat audio coming through here, and basically it still thinks that you want the game sounds to be coming through the TV, but in this instance we've got a monitor plugged in and we're using DVI, so the PlayStation doesn't know that because it's still outputting on HDMI, so it thinks the sound's going down that cable as well, which it is. It's just that it's not converting to sound because of the DVI. So what we have to do is we have to change it to all audio, and then the chat and the game sounds will come through the headset. So that's fine. That's all you have to do if you're happy using the headset, which a lot of people are. But let's say now if you want the sound to come through the speakers so you can sit back and you don't want to have the headset plugged in. So first of all, let me just show you that headset actually working. If you have a listen there, hopefully you just about hear it. Yeah. Now if you're having problems after you've connected this up, if it's not working, then it could be to do with the resolution. So if you have a look here, if I go to settings, and then if I go to sound and screen, you can see at the moment video output settings, I've got it set to automatic. But if I was to change that to 1080p, that's fine on this particular monitor because it is a 1080p monitor. But if I was to have that connected to, for example, a 720p monitor, then it's not going to work. So if possible, when you've got this PlayStation connected up to a TV that it has previously been working on, then change that to automatic and you should be okay. If, for example, your TV's broken and you've got no way of accessing another TV, what you can do is, because if this was set to 1080p and you find it's not working because, for example, your monitor can't handle it, you will have to start this in safe boot mode. So what you need to do is read up about it. I've already done a video on safe boot mode, but basically when you start it up, you just hold it down for much longer than normal until I think it either beeps once or twice, and then it gives you different options of what you can do in safe boot mode. And the good thing is you can start it in 480p. So if you have a look here, in safe boot mode it will start at 480p. So your monitor is going to accept that, and then what you can do is once you know it's working, you can then up it to 720p and try that. And again, you can go up higher if needs be. So you can see here 1080i is not supported on mine, but 1080p is. But I'm just going to leave it on automatic, and then it's going to give me what I need. Now the other thing, I've got HDCP turned on. So if you have a look here, sometimes people say that this helps them out. For me, it doesn't make a blind bit of difference, but again, if you were having problems, then what you could do is connect up this PlayStation 4 to another TV that you know it works on, and you could turn off HDCP. So let me just let that cycle through. And there you go. You see, with mine it works whether it's on or off, so I'm just going to leave it on. But a lot of people say if you're having problems, turn off the HDCP and then it should be okay. Okay, so let's unplug that now. And now we want to get this set up so it's working on the speakers. Right, what we have to do now is we have to have a way of getting the sound out of the PlayStation 4. And that's what we need this thing for. I call this a HDMI audio extractor, but on here it says HDMI audio converter. What it does is on the input, you plug in your HDMI lead, and then what it will do is it will also have an HDMI out, so that's fine, it goes in and out, but it will extract the audio out of it so you can plug in your own equipment. For example, I can plug in my little speakers there into here if I use a little converter, or if you have a look here, SPDIF, which is basically the optical Toslink cable, you know, for the digital audio. So let's just plug this in. It's nice and straightforward. All we're going to do is the HDMI cable that we got with the PlayStation, we're going to plug into here, and then we're going to use our DVI to HDMI cable in the output here. So let me connect it up and then I'll show you it when it's connected. Now in this video you will see me plugging things in and out of this when it's on. Don't do this yourself. If this breaks, I'm prepared for it to break, but obviously you don't want to let this break yourself because you've got more time than I'm trying to rush through in this video. So always make sure you keep powering down the PlayStation 4 every time you connect something in and out. And I don't just mean on standby, I mean actually power it down. Right, okay, so let me just quickly show you the cable connector. So it comes out of the PlayStation as a HDMI, it goes in, here, the cable here, it goes in to the HDMI in, not the HDMI out, but the HDMI in to here. And then we've got our, remember our blue DVI cable? That's here. But if you have a look, we still haven't got anything up on screen. And that's because this needs power. So two different ways of doing it. All we need to do is provide it with 5 volts. It says DC 5 volts. And it comes with a little USB cable. These things roughly cost around £20 from Amazon. So what we need to do is we need to provide it with power. So you can either just get a normal phone charger, which normally the USB ones are 5 volts, or remember, you've got USB ports on your PlayStation 4. Now unfortunately there is no USB ports on the back, but on this slim version here we do have 2 at the front. So what we can do is we can just use one of them. The only problem is it does look a little bit ugly having the cable hanging out the front, so you might prefer to do it the other way. Okay, but now I've plugged it in there, and as you can see it's lit up, and now hopefully in a minute or two we will get the picture up there. There we go, and there it's come up. And now we've got options to get sound out of it. So first of all, let me just show you the picture working. So like before, you can see now we've got the picture, but we've got no sound. Again, we would have sound through here, but I want this without the headset in. So let's start to begin with by plugging in these little speakers here. So that's here and here. If we look here, our options are to have the digital, optical out, or the right and left audio. So these are known as phono connectors or RCA connectors. So what we need to do is just convert that into a 3.5mm female jack. And you can pick up these cables for under £1. They're not expensive at all. So what we're going to do is plug the white into there and the red into there, and now that will convert them to the left and right audio into a 3.5mm jack. So we can now plug in our speakers, the old PC speakers, into here like so, and now we will have sound because it's now extracted from here. It's taken it out of the HDMI and put it onto the speaker. So if you have a listen now, yeah, and if I put the volume up more, you can hear. So that's one way of getting sound out, and it is completely in sync with it. So for example, if you were to watch Netflix or something, there's not going to be an issue with the sound being out with the picture. So when you watch someone talk, it does look like they're talking. It's not coming through a second later. Right, okay, so that's how you can do either phono or 3.5mm jack out. Now let's do the soundbar, which will be an optical. So we're going to get our optical cable here and we're going to plug it in to that one there. We now need to turn our soundbar on, and I need to put it to red. The mode is red already, so the mode for this one is already on red. So now, let me lower that down a bit, and if you have a look, yeah, you can see now it's all working fine. Now on this monitor here, it's a 1080p monitor, and the picture is lovely. And as well as that, when it comes to monitors, they've got very little display lag. Just put that on mute a second. They've got very little display lag. So for example, the input lag is going to be between here and the PlayStation 4. But then from the PlayStation 4 to the monitor or the TV is going to be display lag. And monitors normally beat TVs because TVs are not very good for display lag. So even quite a cheap monitor will probably outperform a more expensive TV. So that's why a lot of people like to use monitors. But some people think that you can't because, for example, it might not be a HDMI monitor if it's off a certain age. But you see, it doesn't actually cost that much to get this set up. So these cables here are going to be under £5. This converter here around £20. So it's not too expensive to get it all up and running. And as you can see there, it all looks good and it all works nice. So as you can see, it sounds really good with the sound bar, and the picture's lovely. Yeah, there you go, so you can see how nice it looks. Right, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Please give it a thumbs up if you liked it, and please subscribe for more how-to videos. Take care, bye now.